Hey everybody, in this video we are going to see how to create automated reports, or in this example how to create briefings based on some data that you may have. So this is how it will look. So how do we go and create this? So first of all, we have RStudio open, and in RStudio we are going to create two documents. One I am calling the presentation test RMD. RMD is a R Markdown format which uses the knitr library to create documents based on the R script that you may have written. So that's one document, which is this one, presentation test. And the other one is, I'm calling it the individual briefing. This is the report that we want to be reproduced for every data element. So we have the name, we have some photos and some basic attributes pulling from that data. And we are going to use this script as a wrapper to create individual pages. And what is the data set I'm using? So I had a lot of fun creating this data, which I call the bio_data. And this, I have 5 IDs and some names that I generated using, I think, one of these links, generator land or fake person generator. It's a lot of fun. I spend too much time doing that. But I came up with these names, and these are some wealth ratings that again I randomly assign. These are some actual addresses of some homes. I think I got that from, again, one of these links. I think this maybe this random real address. It's someone's address. We don't know who. I just got those. And then I created another column called giving, how much money these people have donated, again some random number. And this photo ID, just a column to keep track of what photos these people may have, and in case if I had saved some JPEGs or something. It's just a placeholder for now. And there is some brief, something about these people that again I auto created using one of these links. I think this one, the fake person generator, is a lot of fun. Again, too much time I spent on it. So let's get started. So this is our data set. We have 5 records. Obviously this could be your SQL Server table, it could be multiple joins, it could be a big Excel file, it could be anything. But this is just to give us the idea. There's the ID of the unique ID of that person and all the other attributes. So this could be anything really. As long as you have this unique ID, you should be able to pull all these different fields. So how are we going to do that? So let's go here. I opened up a new Markdown, RMarkdown document, and I started typing all these things. So ignore this style.css for now, but this is what I said. I want a slidey presentation. Other formats didn't work as good, but you can create a Word document or a PDF document if you need it. We can take a look at that later, but let's just look at this right now. So what are some of the basic things that we need? There are lots of comments that I have in this document, and I will post the scripts later so that you can directly copy the script. But right now, the minimum stuff that you need. So you're going to create a chunk, and you can do that by insert. So this is RMarkdown's way of saying that whatever follows under here is the R code. It's not your Markdown code, but it's the R code. So that's the great flexibility that RMarkdown offers, is that you can use your plain Markdown code, or you can use R. Actually, you can use SQL and you can use anything else, but in this case, we're just going to focus on R. That's what I did, and I gave it a name called setup, because this is all the setup, and I'm saying include equal to false. So I'm telling RMarkdown not to include this piece of code when it outputs the final document. So I'm saying false. So that means it will just do a few things that I want it to do, but it won't include any of these things. So the first option I'm telling it to, I'm saying echo equal to false. So I don't want anything to be repeated. I'm hiding all the warnings. I'm hiding all the messages, and I'm caching it. So it just makes it faster if you cache it. And this is another argument that you can use for photos. This is the aspect ratio of the photo. So you're telling RMarkdown that all your photos, you want them to be width and height to be same. So what are some of the libraries that you need? you definitely need dplyr, reader, and others. So tidyverse just packages them all together. So we are loading that. We are also loading this library called ggmap. It lets you create maps. Right now, in this case, I think we are not doing it, but we'll see that soon. And knitr to create the final document using this knitr library. And this iGraph, you can ignore it for now, but we'll see how you can embed network graphs also. So this is some stuff that you don't need to worry about right now. And here is the data file, the sample data file that I loaded that we just saw in this bio_data. So we are going to load that using read underscore Excel, and we are going to load it in this bio_data data frame. Then the next one, we are saying include equal to false again. And here we are creating, this is just a for loop to create a sequence of the length, the number of rows that this bio_data frame has, to let this loop run for that many times. And we have 5 rows in this data frame, so it's going to run this code 5 times. You can see this out variable, which is null right now, before the loop starts. And then we are doing this command knit_child. It will find this individual briefing simple RMD. It will knit it, knit meaning it will run whatever the R code that's part of that document and send it back, and using the C function, it's going to combine it with the out. So whatever is in the out variable, it's just going to keep appending, keep adding to that variable. And once the loop is done, you will have an out object with all the different things that you need to see in that variable. And then once that is done, the last piece, we are running this inline code. So we are not running a code like this, we are actually running an inline code, which you can do this by one backtick and start with R and pasting whatever text the out variable has, and we are collapsing each of them by a line break. So we'll insert a line break in each of the values in the out vector. And you can see I have these 2 Stack Overflow answers that I found this code from, and I modified this code. So this is simply it. We load the libraries, we turn on the cache, we turn off the warnings and messages, we load the data, and we'll run a loop to knit an individual briefing document, put it in this out variable, and you paste it. And that's it. It's pretty simple. You load the data, you run a loop, you knit each row through some other document, and you paste it back. So this is the shell. But what does the individual briefing file look like? So let's go and open it up. Again, you can see equal to false. So I don't want any of the code to come back. I want the markdown code or some other things that you may see. First thing I'm doing is, for every loop, dplyr offers this row number function. For every row, it will generate a row number sequentially. And this I is coming from this loop that you saw here. So you see for I in sequence. The way knitr works, I don't understand all the intricacies, but these variables are passed into any of the individual or any other associated files with it. Again, I don't know the specifics, you may want to read about it, but all I know is that this variable, this I variable, will be passed to this knit_child individual briefing document. So this I is coming over here, and now I'm filtering the data. So I'm filtering this bio_data frame for each of the rows. So essentially splicing all the data rows one by one, because that's what we want, because we want one row which has all the details about a person, and then we want to do something with that. So I'm creating this data frame called data with only the details of that one row. Then I'm using this RMarkdown function, which is this is for heading 1. So if you wanted heading 2, you can do 2 hash marks or pounds hashtag, and then you can have heading level 2. But right now I'm saying heading level 1, and I'm running this inline code where I'm saying convert the name field. So you again, in this we have this name field. I'm taking that name field, selecting it and printing it. So it will print the name here, right here, and it's outputting. So it's running this R code to select the name and printing it here. And on the next row, I'm saying select brief. So this select command is essentially selecting that column. And now I'm saying print the brief column. So what's the brief column? This last column. So it's going to print the name first as a heading 1. Next line would be briefing in normal text. Then I'm running this R code where I'm saying the width of this graphic should be 30%, and I'm including a graphics using this include graphic command, and I found this website where it will return you a random cat photo. So this command will return a cat photo every time. So this, you can easily replace it with the actual photo of the person that you had using some sort of concatenation, or if you had saved all the JPEGs of photos of people, you can pass that parameter here just like how we have done here, and you can get the actual photo. Next, I'm creating a bulleted list, and this double asterisk, 2 asterisks means bold. So it will bold wealth rating, giving, and address. And I'm simply selecting and converting into characters. So I'm selecting the rating, I'm selecting giving column, I'm selecting the address column, and I'm just converting into a character, because if you try to paste this as is, it will try to paste the data frame. We don't want that. We want an individual value to be pasted like this. And let me just comment this out, because that is it. We are selecting individual. We filtered the data frame for each row, and then we are printing the name, printing the briefing, pulling a random graphic, and then printing the wealth rating, giving, and address. And now when we are ready to run this whole thing, we press knit, and it should create the file that we are interested in. Now let's see what it produces. So there we have it. This is the document title, and we can go next and to the next slide by right and left. So if I go to the right, here we see Gilbert Lapointe. That's the heading 1, and this is the briefing in normal text. Here's a random photo that came from that website, printed the wealth rating, printed the giving, printed the address, and this is the bulleted list. What's the next slide? Oh, then this Andrea Brasher's coffee specialist, pop culture enthusiast, then Sabria, and so forth. Gamer, web scholar, coffee advocate. Justin falls down a lot. You can see how easy it is to create this, and you can open it in a browser and then print this whole thing as a PDF. Change this to landscape, and you have a good looking PDF ready for you. And I want to see what this error is. Let's try to fix that. R echo false, message false, figure line. It's not coming from here. Most likely it's coming from here, fig align. Oh, it's coming from here because it's not somehow. Oh, it would have the cache on. Since I had the cache on, it just cached everything that I saw. I'm just going to delete the old cache and run this again, and hopefully that error that we saw will go away. Yep, so it went away. It was the cache that we had on. Also, there's a dog behind the scene. So this is a very simple document that we were able to create, but you can see the power of this. Based on your data set, you can create a looping document that produces different things. What if I wanted to put a map of this address? Can I do that? So the answer is yes, and that's what we were trying to do here, which I had commented out. So we are going to uncomment this, and here again we are saying don't echo this, don't show this, left align the figure, and the width I'm specifying. And I'm using this command from the ggmap library. I'm saying get a Google map from this data frame with the address column, zoom it to this level, and all these other attributes. And you may get an error based on when the command is run, because by default it uses a common API key, and if a lot of people are using it, you may get an error. So I recommend you registering a Google API key for Google Maps, and it gives you, I think, 20,000 or so free every day, or 10,000 or so free every day. So then you don't run into the common key that everybody is using. To do so, you just run this command called register_Google. You paste your key, account type premium, and delimit whatever, I think 10,000 or 1,000, whatever that is. And you, before running the whole program, you run this code, or you can uncomment it so that it uses your own key. So that way you don't run into problems. All I'm doing is, so let's just do an example. So let me create this data frame. So we already have the bio data loaded. Say, give me the first row. Oops. So row number equal to 1. I didn't find. So that's another thing that you have to keep in mind, is that whenever all the libraries that are running in the Markdown environment or the knitr environment, they are not really available outside. So you have to load the library. So I'm just going to load the dplyr library. I think I will have to load the ggmap library also. So now what does data look like? So this is what data looks like. It's the first row. And what does this do? It's returning this stibble format, which is sort of a data frame, modified data frame. But that's why we convert into a character, so that we can only get the value and not everything else. So now you can see this is only the text that it's returning. And when I run this get Google map command, it's going to geocode that address, go to Google, get a map, and print it. But you have to, it won't print it, it would just save it in a variable, but you have to use this ggmap command to actually print it. So let's see what happens when we run this. So now it's geocoding, it's finding, So see, this is the error that we found, this over query limit, because somebody must be using it. So I'm just going to run my own key, and I'm going to try to run this again. So now it's going finding, and there it is. There's the map from Google for that address. So let's try to run this and see if it works. So we are going to knit this again. I should turn this to false because we are going to get problems. So I will go and delete this cache again and knit this whole thing. All right, so let's see. So here we have Gilbert jumping, and here's the home for this address, this 4774 Rugby Avenue. Then Andrea, this is Andrea's house. So you see it geocoded all of these addresses and put a map. Ooh, that's a funny photo. And here's this address, St. Louis. And here's the Madison, Iowa, New York address. Incurable TV lover. So here's the address. You can see that it's not exactly looking really nice because it's coming it right here. And if we try to print this as a PDF, let's see what happens. Change this to landscape. Yeah, see, it's going on the second page. So it may not look really nice when you want to share it with somebody. The one way to handle this is by creating a CSS file. And in this CSS file, I copied this code from somewhere where I created these two divs. For two columns, I'm saying those column left, those column right, and here I'm saying float left, display inline block. You can just copy the CSS. All it's going to do is create two column layout and put something on the left when you specify this, and when you specify this, it's going to put that element into the right side. So let's try to do that. Let's put the photo in left and let's put this on the right. And I just want to see whether this will work. It may not work, but we'll see. So this is left and this is right. So we are passing the CSS in this RMark document to create those two divs. And in our RMD, we had already said that the CSS file that we want to use is this style.css. So you can pass any argument, you can change the colors of the headings and anything that you want to do, and it's just going to embed that CSS. So let's see whether this works. All right, so it did create two columns, put the cat photo on left and the house photo on the right. It's working. The only problem is that I think the resolution of the cat photo is obviously very small and the house photo is large. We can fix it and you would have a really nice looking document. Let's see how this looks in PDF. Yeah, it looks, oh, it's going on the next page. You can fix it by reducing this size or reducing the space here, but you would have a nice looking document with the photo, with the map, and with the address and everything else. Again, very powerful when you can pull your data set from wherever, but have these types of automated reports created. And in this case, we are just creating these briefings on people. Here's one more thing that we could do. So let's say this is not enough. We actually want to create who knows who, that kind of diagram. A network map where we can show connections of all these people. And again, this might be useful for somebody who has a meeting, somebody who is going to meet with these people. They can see this network map and get some idea of who these people are connected to. Have that as a talking point. How do we do that? I created another file. I call it individual briefing. So this is not simple. And it is doing pretty much the same thing. We are filtering the data, we are printing this. I put the cat photo on the left with the width 30. Then I added this network command. So I'm creating, using the iGraph library, I'm filtering the data and you'll see how the data looks like. Then I'm creating a graph from that data frame, and there are some commands I'm using to filter the data, filtering the data frame for the person on whom the report is being run on. See here, I am saying from equal to I to equal to I. So it's only showing when that person is in that network, it's going to filter that data. Then I have some color attributes. I'm just making some changes. Then I'm putting this wealth rating and stuff on left and this on right. So on the only piece that I added was this network data piece here, and I just changed the layout a bit. And how does the network data look like? So I created two data files, network data and vertices data, and I'm getting those from these two. And let's just load them and see what they look like. So the network data looks like this. It's only from to to. I just created some random connections. And vertices has property of each of the vertex. First, label. So these are only all the names for all of these vertices. And when you run, so we can try to run this. So we already have network data. So let's say from is 1. And 2 is 1, filter ID in unlist from 2. Let's see if this runs. So you have to load the iGraph library. So there it is. So this is for Gilbert's network diagram. This is how it looks, because we filtered the data only wherever Gilbert is present, and it produced this network graph. So now you can say to Gilbert, when you're meeting with Gilbert, you can say, hey, do you know about Lisa Lee? Or something like that. You don't want to be too obvious, but but that's the point, that you know that they know these people, and somehow you can have a conversation, or somehow you are trying to reach through Gilbert to Lisa, or to Andrea, or to Stefan. So let's see what this looks like. So first I need to change which document it's knitting. So we are knitting now the individual briefing column, or not the column but the report, and let's knit it and see how it looks. Here it is. Photo is on the left, the network graph is on the right. Here is the wealth rating, giving, and the house photo is on the right. So not too bad. These cats are in. So this is just a good pass of time, just looking at these cat photos. Every time it pulls a random photo. So here's Andrea's network, pretty big. She knows lots of people. Sabria's network. She's an extreme zombie enthusiast. Justin falls down a lot. This is Justin's network. There you have it. It's pretty easy. Again, if we want to see this as a PDF, you're ready to share it with someone, you can see it's not doing this line break properly, but you can adjust with margins and everything else, and you can have everything on one page, and it would look really nice. Or if you just want to do a HTML, there you have the HTML. And I will post all the code on my site. I will add the link to this video. But thank you for watching, and I hope this helps you. And if you have any questions, let me know here on YouTube or on my site. Thank you.